Hello everyone, it's Malia. Happy New Year. Today I'm very excited because in today's video I'm going to be giving you all a Notion tour. Ooh. So if you've been following me from the start, you've probably heard me talk about Notion before, and I can wholeheartedly say this, but I love this platform so much. If you don't know what it is, Notion is an online digital workspace where you can literally organize your entire life. And I mean it, I'm not over exaggerating. Just think about it as online bullet journaling, but 10 times better. You'll see how it works more during the tour, but literally everything is all in one place, and you can use Notion to track things from schoolwork to daily habits, and you can create pages to journal, create lists, and literally just organize anything that you could think of. And since it's still the start of the new year, what better way to kickstart 2023 than by trying to organize your entire life? And trust me, it's not too late even though it's the middle of January. Also, I want to thank Notion for sponsoring this video. When they reached out to me, it was honestly a dream come true. I've made 2 videos in the past about Notion before just for funsies, and they weren't sponsored. And I think I joked about Notion hopefully sponsoring me sometime in the future. I am not sponsored by Notion, but Notion, if you're watching this, hit me up. So for this to actually happen, it's just a dream come true, and Notion, I love you so much. But yeah, let's get into my Notion. I'm really excited to show you all how I'm gonna use Notion to pretty much organize this upcoming year and hopefully my life. Alright, I am now Bubble. Hello. But here is my main home page or Life Hub, as you can see. It's super simple and straightforward. When I first used Notion back in 2021, I think I definitely was a little too excited and maybe went a little overboard when I made more pages than I needed to, which eventually just led me to falling off from the platform for a little. Personally, for me, I don't really need to keep track of every single detail of my life. So for me, I really wanted to be very intentional this time with how I designed my Notion and only put things that I needed on here. But I give major kudos to those who can really organize every single detail about their life on here. But here is my homepage in a glance. It's super straightforward and it really only has things that I would need to look at on a daily basis on here. It also has a really nice beige and neutral theme that's going on, and that's another thing that I really love about this platform. It's not only can you put all the info that you need on these pages, but you can make them look very pretty and very aesthetic, and who doesn't like aesthetic things? So most of these GIFs and images that you see, I mainly get them off of Pinterest. Love you, Pinterest. But that's what I think is the easiest for me, because if I want to grab a specific picture, I'll just copy the link and I'll be able to upload it onto these pages. But we can go ahead and start at this top For Me section. So first, I have a running to-do list of all the tasks that I want to get done throughout the week. I didn't really want to have a list that was too specific, like having date assignments, just because my days can get really busy and I just like having this list. So when I finally do have some free time that pops up during the day, then I can just see what tasks I could get done in that moment, and then from there cross them out. So once I complete something, like for example, I definitely dropped off my disposables, I can just drop it in the archive just like that and it disappears. And then if I wanted to add something, like if I have to reschedule a doctor's appointment, I'll just click on this add a new to-do, and then I can add the task just like that. I also really liked how I used the toggle feature for these to-do lists, just because if I don't need to look at it anymore, or if I want to clean up my homepage for a little, I can just click on the arrow and it will simply hide just like that. And then under my running to-do list, I have another toggle list, which has my weekly routine and reminders. And here, this is where I can kind of keep myself accountable and just make sure I get my weekly goals done. So for example, I know I went to the gym 3 times this week already, so I can just cross this off and have a little moment of satisfaction. And I feel like crossing off anything on any list is just really satisfying, so that's why I have a lot of to-do lists on my Notion. And then right under those lists, I have my daily habit tracker. I decided that I wanted to have my habit tracker right on my homepage, just so I could see it right then and there, and I could fill it out whenever I finish something, rather than having to click into a new page just to see my habits. But I'm not tracking too many things, and actually let's just do yesterday and today's habits while we're here. So I definitely did sleep by 12 yesterday, and did I take my vitamin D? Yes, I think I did. And then for the number of steps I took, let me just check my health app real quick. But I took 17,393 steps yesterday. And wow, that's actually a lot. Good job, Malia. But then for today, I woke up by 8. I took my vitamin D already. And then since the day's not done, I'll just fill out the rest tomorrow. But since it's Friday, I'll actually also set up next week's days as well. So what's cool about this is under tags, I'll just mark all of these days from the week as done. And then they will pop into the past tab that I have. And this is a cool feature because then if I wanted to see how I did in January or other months, I can just review it here in the past tab and I can filter down depending on the month that I want to look at. And now to set up the next week, I'll just go ahead and pop into the calendar tab that I have. And then I'm just going to click on every single day for the days that I want to add. So now if I go back onto the current tab, then all of those dates for next week should pop up and are ready for me to fill out. But that's pretty much the habit tracker, really simple and straightforward. But now if we want to move to the top right, I just have a summary or outline of some January goals that I have. And it's good to have just this visual reminder because you don't want to forget about your goals that you're working towards. So that's why I have them in the corner. And then below that, it's really cool. You can embed a lot of things from different platforms like Spotify. So I added one of my favorite K-drama playlists just in case I was ever in the mood to cry for that day. And then below that, I wasn't really sure what to put here, but then I just decided to have a little section of important dates for the upcoming month just so I could see it at a glance. But now if we scroll down to the next section, we pretty much have our week at a glance. I also really like how I can separate sections on pages using this divider function, which I think is cool. But yeah, I was pretty much inspired for this section from Nina Yu or Oh No Nina, and actually she inspired a good chunk of my pages, so shout out to you, Nina. I love you. But here's kind of just like a summary of my daily schedule. I don't fill this out too much. It's like really simple and I just have each day listed and any small tasks that I need to do, or if I have an appointment or an event like this slash appointment, I can just list it as a reminder as well. And if I don't get to a certain task that day and it's not necessarily like time urgent, it's really easy for me to just drag and drop it to the following day. But yeah, I really like having this week at a glance section just because it helps give me some reminders of things that I need to do throughout the day, like if I need to edit or if I need to film, I can just list it on here. And then every Friday I'll just go ahead and refresh this for the following week. So I'll move all the complete tasks into the archive page right over here, and then I would just change the dates for each day and list out all the tasks that I need to do for the next week. And then right below that we have our month at a glance. Also nothing too crazy, I just list out any events that I have here for the month. I also like to use the tags for events, like if it's a birthday or an appointment or work or travel event. And then based off the colors, I can just really see or identify right off the bat what I have going on for that day or for that week. And another cool feature on here is that you can have different filter views for what they call a database. So this is my 2023 calendar database, but this first page is just for events. But if I click onto this posting tab that you can see here, now only my content posting schedule is up. But all of this information is technically on one database. I just edited the filter to separate it, and I can only view the specific tags that I want to see. So for example, if I wanted to create a tab just for my travel events, I would add a view and then make it a calendar view. And then you can see here it has all the events that I created, but I want to filter that down. So what I can do is click on filter and then tags, and then all I have to do is select travel, and there it is. And I'm only going to see my travel events now for this tab, and I can rename it as travel. So that was pretty much the home page. Once again, these are things that I want to look at on a daily basis. But if we scroll back up to the top of my page and look to the left, here are the links for all my other pages that I don't necessarily need to look at every single day. But I'm going to go through all of them. And first is my 2023 page, which is pretty much a monthly recap or reflections log. So if we pop into January, you can see it's not filled out yet, but early in the month, I listed all these goals I had for January. And later on, near the end of the month, probably in like a week or two, I'm gonna fill out this entire page, which has my reflections, highlights, song of the month, which is not driver's license, by the way. This was copied from my 2021 template, so that's why driver's license is on here. And then I'll also add some pictures of the month, which I think are so cute to have. And then also once I fill out my January page, then I'll set up my February goals as well on the February page. And then pretty much I'll just duplicate this page for every single month as the year goes on, and hopefully I'll be able to fill it out throughout the year. And then next is my goals page for the year, which is nothing too crazy. I just have some honorable mentions from 2022, which is nice to look at just so I could see how much I achieved last year. But the main chunk of this page is pretty much a board view. But in the first column, these are more so just general goals that I want to practice hopefully throughout the year. And then the second column are short-term goals, things that I think I can do or achieve within this month, versus the long-term goals you can see here. These are definitely more hefty goals that I want to hopefully achieve throughout 2023. But if I end up completing a goal, I can just move it over here to the done pile. And then once I go through my monthly reset at the end of each month, I'll just move everything from the done pile into the January group, for example, and then have it blank and ready for February. So I really like this setup that I have because setting goals are always good to have, and I never want to put too much pressure on myself because if I don't achieve them, it might not make me feel good. And at the end of the day, we're only human, so there's only so much that we could do throughout the year. So for me personally, I think this setup works best overall because it doesn't put too much emphasis on having a very specific time frame for these goals. It's a very loose and flexible setup. So this is why I set it up like this. But I'm really excited about this next page. This is my travel page, which is new and improved since the last one that I showed. I even made a video all about my old travel page if you wanted to check it out, but I think this one is a lot better. So I love to travel. You probably all know that from my videos, but I really want to utilize Notion when it comes to traveling and putting all of that information on here. And I think out of all the things that I want to organize in my life, traveling, logging the places that I've already visited, destination itineraries are things that I really want to record and jot down. But pretty much at the top, I have my trip section. As you can see, each block is a trip that I have coming up. There's also a past tab to list all of the trips that I already went on, and I did that by utilizing that filter option that I showed before with the calendar. But if you click into a specific trip, for example, let's do this Hawaii one, it'll open up into a new page, and then here is where I can list all the information for that trip, from hotel and flights, and then if you scroll down, there's even an itinerary section, and then even a budget section right below that. So if I wanted to create a new trip page, I just need to click on new, select the trip template option, and then it'll set up that page automatically. And then to the right of this page, I have a little map snippet of where I'll be going next. Hint, hint, it's Hawaii again for my birthday. Yay. But then right below that, I have some quick links like my Yelp list, and then I also have a page dedicated to Korea spots. So what's cool about Notion is that it's very shareable and collaborative. So if I wanted to share this list to a friend who might be going to Korea soon, all I can do is just head to the top right and then click share. And then from here, I can invite my friends, or I can just give them the link to this page. So this would even work if I was like traveling with friends, and then I could share the link to that itinerary page for the trip and we can fill it out together. And then this last section here is pretty much my destination board and travel history. So you can see all the trips that I'm planning for this year, and then once they're complete, I'll just move them into 2023. But I really like this setup because if I wanted to, I can look at all the other year tabs so I can see all the past trips that I've made throughout the years and just reminisce and feel nostalgic if I miss traveling. But then also, if I ever have my eye on visiting a certain place, I can just add it to this want to visit tab, and then hopefully in the future I can move it to planning and then move it to completed later on. But yeah, that's pretty much the travel page, and also probably one of my favorite pages. Okay, so next is the finance page. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this just because it's a little complicated and I don't even know if I understand it myself, but maybe I'll save it for like a budget tracking video later on in the year. But pretty much I budget track for the year on a separate Google sheet, which I have linked down here. And then every end of the month, what I do is I'm going to get the data from that sheet and fill it out here on this monthly summary board to the right, just so I can see the year's data all in one place. And then right below that, this can be a little tricky to explain, but pretty much I am just tracking all of my short-term, long-term, and retirement fund savings. So I get all of my data from my bank accounts, and then I use these tables to divide my savings according to what my accounts say. So to further explain, I'm pretty much dividing all of my savings accounts into the categories of the things that I'm saving for. Hopefully that made sense. Sorry if it didn't, but for sake of time, I'm not going to dive too much into this finance page, but pretty much the purpose of this is just so I can keep myself accountable with my spending habits, but also hopefully grow my savings over time. We love financial literacy. Yes. So those were all the pages under the quick link sections, which I would say are my most important tracking pages. But next is my content section, which is really simple. It's my YouTube studio and my social media directory. So if we pop into the YouTube studio, this is where I make all the videos happen, or at least try to make them happen. But first, I just have some quick links. Some are like pages to my YouTube goals, super simple and straightforward. Hopefully I can keep growing on YouTube this year. And then this next page, I also got this idea from Nina, but I have a why YouTube page just because sometimes it's hard to stay motivated. And as many of you know, I have a very love-hate relationship with YouTube, especially from last year when I was plateauing a lot. So it's always good to just have that reminder for yourself to show you why you're doing what you're doing in the first place. But then after that, I just have a little brain dump for any video ideas that might pop into my head all of a sudden. And then below that, I just duplicated the same posting calendar that you saw on my main page, just so I don't have to keep going back and forth between the home page and this one. But then right below that, this is pretty much a table of my video history. So it's sorted into different sections based off the year. And then for each specific line, I can just list the video and things like the date it's going to be published, if there's a sponsor, the title, etc. So pretty much this is a nice simple page to just keep my YouTube life on track. And then the other content page is my directory, super simple as well. I just have a link to all of my social media sites on here. And then right below that, the only other thing I have is a table for keeping track of the brands and sponsorships that I'm working on, which I'm still getting used to, which is why there's not that much on here. But once again, thank you Notion for sponsoring this video so I could fill out this table. Thank you. And then finally, we can go over this miscellaneous link section. These are things I track, but not necessarily on a weekly or even a monthly basis. It's pretty much just for funsies and when I have time. So we'll go over these really fast, but here is the K-drama page. I'm an avid K-drama watcher, and if there's any media that I consume that I would want to track, it is K-dramas. So yeah, just a quick little table listing all the dramas that I've watched, the ratings, how much I've cried, and things like that. And then next is my career page. Being your typical techie girl out there, I just wanted to track my career progression. So I just have things like my current resume, links to anything career related like my LinkedIn and portfolio. And then I also have a work history section where I list all of my previous employers. And I think this will be really nice to look at later down the road when I'm like older and probably have had so many other like jobs under my belt, just so I could reminisce on my humble beginnings. And then next we have my food and recipes page. It's pretty much the same from what it was in 2021. I just have a running list of all my favorite cuisines and the restaurants that I like to go to. And then on the bottom, I have any recipes that I have for myself. But honestly, in reality, I don't really cook, so we'll probably not add too many recipes for that section for now. And last but not least, we have my wish list page. I don't really know how I feel about this page just yet. I might change this later in the year, but pretty much I can just list all the things that I need to buy here based off priority. So for example, I think I need a new camera tripod, so what I'll do is I will add a new line and then say camera tripod, and then add the category and priority. So let's say, think about it, because I still have one, I'm just looking to upgrade. And then since I don't know the cost yet, I'll just add a note to check Amazon or Best Buy. And then once something's purchased, I'll just change the status and it'll pop up in the purchase tab just like that. As you can see, I really like creating different tabs and using that filter options. So really utilize that if you just want to keep one database of all this information, but then you can just filter things down, which I think is really cool. And then right below that, this is just for funsies, but this is pretty much my old wish list. As you can see, they're very expensive things like designer things, so I probably won't be getting these things for a long time unless the YouTube paycheck comes through. But after that, that was pretty much the last page, and I think that's it for my Notion tour. That was a lot. I'm a little out of breath, But I would say that wasn't too many things to keep track of for me personally. I think that my Notion setup that I created is very sustainable for me in the long run. So for someone like myself who likes to track and organize things, but not necessarily on a super high level, I think this is what will work best for me, and hopefully for you too. And as a special New Year's gift to all of you, I have created a template of my 2023 Notion that you just saw, and I'm gonna link it in the description below. So if you're already using Notion, feel free to use it to your liking, take out or add any other pages that you want. And if you're not on Notion, hopefully this convinced you to sign up for it. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this little Notion tour. Also, hopefully in the future, I'll be able to make some more in-depth videos for some of the things like the travel and the finance page. But like I said, if you want to organize your life from school to work to just personal things like me, definitely consider Notion. I would say it's probably the #1 most amazing and useful platform that I've ever used in my life, so I will always advocate for Notion. But once again, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you're not subscribing, I hope you subscribe. Follow me on Instagram too. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone!